We'll take a second.
Will it look just like this?
We're alive.
Okay.
Hi. Hi, Diane. How you
Hi,
doing?
Rebecca.
So, hey, Rebecca here with CHEA of California. And we've been going through our Tips at 3 series, and I've been using it as an opportunity to introduce you to our different members of the CHEA team. We've been going through some of our regional advisory board members. And today I want to introduce you to Dianne Padget, who is CHEA's administrative assistant. She keeps a lot of the balls rolling or plates spinning in the background. So thanks for joining me today, Dianne.
Thanks for having me.
Go ahead. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your homeschool journey? How, when you started, how come, why you got started, what was your motivation? Tell us about that and how long you homeschooled. Just give us the scoop.
All right. Well, back in about 1983, I had a friend who started homeschooling her children. Now, my husband and I were convinced that she was ruining that child for life.
Mm-hmm.
Child is now a pastor's wife, so I think she did okay. But in 1988, we had a terrible tragedy in our family. And I was just, that summer of 1988, I was just drowning. And my husband came home and he had been listening to Dr. Dobson. And on Dr. Dobson's radio show, Dr. Raymond Moore had been speaking about homeschooling. Now, having seen my friend's child turning out pretty good so far, she seemed like a normal child. It was like the Lord threw me a lifeline. He gave me something else to focus on than the loss of my brother.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a total 180. I was full bore, excited. I will say I had already bought my kids' school clothes. So they were the best dressed homeschoolers that year. Homeschool, all their brand new clothes. But a friend of mine in a class I was teaching at a park.
So, let me interrupt you. How old were your kids when you started homeschooling?
They were going into 2nd and 5th grade.
Okay.
So they had been in school a little bit. I found out after the fact that there had been a lot of nonsense going on at school that I wasn't aware of. One child was being cornered on the playground and they would make her cry. And every Friday was flip up day because the girls used to wear dresses and the boys would go around and flip up their dresses. But we didn't find that out till afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So it was an interesting first year. We'd sit there, we had our textbooks, and I had the little desks lined up. And then we would do our school, and then I would go in my bedroom and cry all afternoon.
Oh.
Then we come back, and next day and we do school. And that was kind of how the first year was. It was tough, but it gave us all a chance to really get close and to love on each other. And we had a baby our first year. So I planned it all out. We were going to take at least a month off.
Mm-hmm.
About 3 days being home with the baby and the girls. It's like, all right, get those books out. It's time to go back to school.
Needed some structure, huh?
We needed some structure. Yeah. So that kind of started it. And of course, then you get to junior high with your kids and you're thinking, well, I sure can't send them to school in junior high. Junior high is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was high school. And by that point in time, I'd become friends with many of the homeschoolers in our area. And we had a meeting one night that went until about midnight, and certain people's husbands were calling, are you coming home? Yeah, that was Rebecca. Well, I didn't know if I could say that. And so we found out with the encouragement of this wonderful godly woman that we could do high school. Mm-hmm. So we did, and we did co-op classes together. We had a friend who's a marine biologist, and she did all the science classes in high school because she liked science and we didn't. I didn't. So it was just a wonderful experience. We were part of a homeschool marching band and homeschooling patriots, and we were in all sorts of parades. And then by that time, our youngest, who was, she was 10 years younger than our oldest, Well, then both the girls graduated. Now we just have our son. And then it was basketball. And
Mhm.
we played basketball for so many years and graduated him in 2007.
Mhm.
That was kind of our homeschool journey. But along the way, getting to know Rebecca, well, she started this thing at the convention.
Oh.
People could bring their used books to sell. So I
Mhm.
thought, well, I can do that. And it was really fun because I got to talk to adults. So I was
Mhm.
really excited about that. So I worked with Rebecca and the Youth Curriculum Exchange for years.
Mhm.
Would leave me and I would have to pretend like I was Rebecca. She was always very calm and I wasn't so calm. But
Oh, so funny.
um, so eventually I ended up taking over the Youth Curriculum Exchange, which got renamed the Youth Curriculum Sale.
A couple years ago. That's
Yeah, a
right.
couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I stepped down from that a couple years or last year. This,
Okay.
well,
So you kept serving in that capacity long after you were done homeschooling.
yeah, I did. And not only that, I kept serving in the private school program that I was in.
Mhm.
Um, Rebecca was the original administrator in the PSP that I was in. And then it transferred to another support network leader. And I remained in that. I've taught children's choir and children's theater youth theater. Taught both of those, done probably 30 shows, 2 a year for about 20 years. So I just loved teaching the kids. This year, I'm still doing it, kind of, but it kind of got, didn't quite happen. We did a video of our show, but
Right.
rehearsals are tough to do.
Coronavirus happened.
Yeah,
Right.
coronavirus happened. So I don't think the first semester we're not going to be doing any theater classes, but that's okay because the Lord knows what needs to happen. And so we're just going to kind of wait and see what happens second semester.
Mhm.
I'm
Okay.
still serving in the PSP and the homeschool community.
So you would say the Lord brought homeschooling into your family's life, not just for your children, but it was just as much for you as it was for the kids.
Oh, absolutely. And that friend who started homeschooling her kids way before me, she always said, "Yeah, I think homeschooling is as much for me as it is for my kids." And it was a discipling time. It was a time of just, growing in the Lord and developing those relationships that are so important with our kids. I mean, my kids are all adults now and they're friends. We are all friends. I talk to one of my daughters almost every day, and the other one's working, so it's a little harder. And our son works for us, so it's just these bonds, and then the friendships. I
Mhm.
mean, two of my best friends, Rebecca and another friend. I mean, we homeschooled together, and we're still best friends.
Mhm.
And just building those relationships, it's just
Lifelong friendships, huh?
lifelong friendships.
For the
Absolutely.
parents as well as the kids. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I treasure our friendships and just wouldn't have it any other way.
We've even had, what is it, breakfast jammies on New Year's Eve. Is that what it was? Is
Yes.
that
Yeah.
what we did?
New Year's morning brunch in our pajamas.
Yes,
Yeah.
all our homeschool mom friends who we've been homeschool mom friends for years. So, those
And
friends,
the dads and the daddies come too.
that's right. Even the dads. Yes. Yes.
Although your husband is always brave and wears his pajamas. Not all the husbands will wear their pajamas. Yeah.
Well, that's Tim for you.
Yeah. But no, I love that. I love that. So, well, let's talk because we're going to run out of time now. Let's talk a little bit about what you do for CHEA, and then we'll talk about your tip because I know you have a great tip for the parents. But
All right. So, CHEA, I am the administrative assistant, and basically, I do a lot of things, keeps a lot of the wheels spinning. I do a lot of customer service. It's email customer service, it's telephone customer service, memberships, our support network, a lot of communication between the team and a lot of the CHEA team, and
okay.
communication with the public. Um,
So you're the person when somebody calls 562-864-2432, Monday through Thursday, between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m., that they speak with on the phone.
That's right. That's
Mhm.
10 to 3. Yes.
10 to 3, sorry.
Yes.
I don't know what I was thinking. You're right.
Yeah. I'm the one who answers the phones, and I'm the one who I actually deal with 5 email boxes.
Mhm.
And so I'm the one who's trying to keep everybody, make sure everyone has what they need. And if they need information, make sure they get the correct information, and
Mhm.
support the events, help support the editor, help support you. So,
Mhm. Yeah. So I'm thinking to, supporting the events. We had our special needs solutions for homeschool families last week. And we had our moderators and our speakers, and we had our event manager behind the scenes, making sure that all the technical difficulties or technical issues went correctly. What were you doing?
I was making sure that those people who signed up for memberships were able to get into the members' content. So I was
Mhm.
constantly monitoring the membership database to see if someone else had come in, so I could get them logged into that so they would have that member access.
Yeah, and we had a few that had some difficulty.
Yeah.
Once they got their access, all of a sudden it wasn't working. So you were helping. You were in another room altogether, helping the homeschool parents join the meeting and make sure they had all access.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes when you have these things, something that worked doesn't work anymore. That's just part of this wonderful technology that we have now in these awesome Zoom meetings and webinars. Things are supposed to work and they don't always do what they're supposed to.
Right. And so it does take a support team to keep these events going. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and I know you're constantly answering questions from moms and dads.
It's been, this last few weeks has been absolutely crazy since Governor Newsom shut down the schools, basically. Got so many parents who are just frantic, and so I am able, because of all the resources that CHEA has put together. And when we first started, I was walking them from website to website to website, and now we've got everything in this great document, so I can just put a personal note about what they're asking and refer them to Katie's Keep Calm and Homeschool On. I mean, that has everything in it.
Mhm.
But that's been just that's helped a lot. That's cut down a lot of time. I was spending, gosh, 3 hours of my 5 hours at work on the phone when that first happened.
Yeah.
You want to do everything you can to help to make sure that they are able to do what they need to do.
Right.
And then remind them they love their kids more than anyone. They can do this.
Right. Right. They can. Parents have been teaching their children for millennia. So there's
Yes,
no need to have a teacher's credential in order to homeschool. So,
that's right.
and that's what a lot of them just need to hear is
Yeah.
that. And so would you say that there's a difference in the calls from the moms and from the dads? Do you have?
Dads are very solution oriented.
Uh-huh.
They just want the answers.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, I'm concerned about this and what about this? And what they're like, okay, how do I do this? They're definitely more solutions oriented.
Mm-hmm. And the moms are there not only looking for solutions, but support and encouragement as well.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I think just for a mom to hear that you can do this,
Mm-hmm.
the world isn't necessarily telling them that.
No, they're not. You're right. So what would you say your number one tip is right now? I know our we very often look at the need of the moment, the phone calls that we get or emails or Facebook questions, but what is on your heart most as a tip to share with our homeschoolers?
You know, one of the things that our son was very involved in was a program at church, lots of awards for scripture memorization. In fact, he got the biggest award at the end. And we were
What program was that?
Awana.
Awanas. Okay, yeah, very popular. Very popular.
Yes, very popular. And
Mhm.
he got the citation award because he made everything all the way from Sparky's on up through the high school program.
Mhm.
what we did is we were so focused on memorization that I think a lot of the time we lost sight of what we were memorizing.
Mm.
Aren't necessarily going, this verse is so good for remembering when you're in this situation. I just wish, I think it would have, the scripture is hidden in our hearts.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's, that was the priority. But I also think there needed to be a little more, how are we going to apply this verse? Not just make sure you memorize it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
life application of
Yeah.
scripture. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so good to learn, but it's
Mhm.
to memorize, but it's good to know how to apply it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I have to say, knowing your son and the competitive spirit that he has, I'm not surprised that he got the highest award that there was. And I think that was about a valuable, um, exercise.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I don't, there was a lot of mama pushing on that one.
Oh.
You're almost there, son. You can do this.
But tell me, how many of those verses did you memorize yourself?
The hardest programs at that time, it's very different now, were the
Oh,
junior high ones. And I did the junior high ones, and that was a brutal, not, but it was so much big scripture,
okay, lots of big chunks.
lots of big chunks. So I did do those, and a lot of them you picked up. Now I will say too, a lot of the scripture I know is from songs. We'll be in Bible study and someone will say a verse and I'll start singing a song I learned in a children's
And yeah, yeah,
choir.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Something about putting scripture to music, isn't there? That it
Oh, yes.
really sticks in your memory. So,
Yes.
yeah.
I remember much better that way.
Yeah. Oh, I think all of us do. I would
Yeah.
want to not remember some of the songs I do remember,
Yeah.
but
Well,
like
yeah.
theme song to Gilligan's Island, I
I
can,
mean, who doesn't know that? Okay.
yeah, yeah. But putting scripture to music. So, but I
Yeah.
really appreciate what you said, Diane, about teaching application along with memorization. And really, what I love is that you focused on the one eternal subject. Some of our viewers may be saying, but what about math? Or how did you teach? I needed tips for teaching phonics, but all of those are needful, but teaching our children scripture is necessary for private Christian homeschoolers. So
Absolutely is the priority.
yeah, absolutely a priority. Okay, well, I'm gonna just say thanks. We went just a little bit over, but I appreciate I know, sorry, but I appreciate you joining us today, Diane, and I hope our viewers really appreciate hearing from your life story to how God used homeschooling and your tips. And with that, I will see all of you tomorrow. We will have Mike Smith from HSLDA on at our tips at 3. Diane, if you want to hang out here, I'm going to go ahead and end this broadcast, and we'll see all of you tomorrow.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.